Good morning. How's it going? Did you guys all survive the holiday? Those of you in the US? We had a really nice time. It was really mellow. And it was nice to come in today, see where I'd gotten. I'd totally forgotten, just kind of put it out of my head. Especially that last stream where I struggled with that zipper. And then I finally watched my zipper fly video and I was like, gosh dang it, why didn't I just watch this beforehand? It's just one of those things. Lost track of time. I'm still trying to get the brightness okay here. I've been kind of fussing with it. I can see like my camera is a little bit off. This looks a little overexposed here, but if I make it any dimmer, then the denim doesn't show up very well. I really need to make a pair of these that aren't in denim so they're not so, dark. So let's see. Where we left off was I did part of the zipper fly on the pants, and now I'm going to assemble the pockets and put those on the pants, finish the fly, and then we'll have our side seams. And I don't have anything prepared for fit or pattern or anything like that right now. So if you have any questions, just holler at me here because I'm happy to go over any of that. If you watched the part 1 video or the part 2 video. And hi Malin, good evening, how are you? So yeah, just let me know. So let's see. And I do have like all the rivets and things like that. I've actually never put them on my pants, not for any reason except, I don't know, I just don't really need them. But it would be fun to do that, and I feel moderately comfortable trying that out because we put tack buttons on our accordion case all the time, and we've kind of gotten the hang of that here. So I definitely feel comfortable with that. I haven't put rivets on in a while. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you, Malin. So let's see. I'm kind of a little disappointed that I didn't switch to my top stitching thread for that first top stitching pass. And, it's just one of those things, I don't know about you, but I can do math pretty good, but when someone's watching, I can't. And it's the same with sewing. I'm much better when you guys aren't watching me. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So, okay, so let me see. There's the lighting's okay. Let me see if I can adjust the camera a little bit more. Hi, Ida. How are you? You guys are both really far away. I mean, I'm wondering if I should do my Saturday stream a little later for you guys. Or it's actually not late. It'd be, let's see, it's late for you guys. It's early for the gal in Australia. That's what it is. So hard to pick a time, So. All right, so let's see. I was just changing my thread. I think I just changed my needle after the stream the other day. And I'm going to put my pockets together. I was about to review the instructions, make sure I'm not forgetting anything. So I've got my pattern pieces. I've got the little pocket facing. Yeah, 8 p.m. That's great. Okay. You're foregoing good TV probably. Here are my pocket pieces. I serged just this edge here because I plan to encase the bottom in the pocket and then the top into the waistband. So I didn't really need to serge those. This goes into the zipper fly. But I struggled with this pocket the first time I made my gingers with you guys, and it's because I've never done one into the zipper fly. And remember, I cut one of them a little short. So we will see how I do this time. That's why I stopped doing the zipper fly the other day, because I realized, oh, I'm going to back myself into a corner again, and I'm not going to be able to get my pockets into there, and I'd really like to do them the way the instructions say. So here's my pattern pieces right here. So I think it's only the high-rise version that has this, and it's like a tummy panel, to kind of just make it a little smoother there if you need it. It's not completely necessary. You probably could do a modified pocket if you just want the pocket bags and that's it, and not the panel going all the way across. And I have this really great woven with these flowers on there that are woven as well. Here's the right side. It's really cool fabric. I bought it a long time ago. I never made what I was supposed to make with it because I ended up changing my mind on the other fabric as well. So let's see here. So I think our first step I really should look at the instructions, huh? Famous last words is I'm going to stitch down these pocket facings like this. I'm going to take a gander at the instructions, make sure I do it the way they intended. I've got all kinds of papers here. I've kind of been stockpiling them. So let's see. Pockets here. First step. Oh, I'm not doing the coin pocket. I don't like coin pockets. It's just a personal preference. I find my hands always get hung up on them, so I'm just not interested. It's a little overexposed. Sorry about that. So let's see. You do this like when you're kind of prepping all your pattern pieces before you start assembling the pants. So before you start assembling the jeans and everything, they have you prep these little pieces here. And one of them is the coin pocket. And they started with the front of their pants. We started with the back because we wanted something kind of easy right out the gate after we talked about fit on that part 1 video. So you're gonna, top stitch the pocket facing to the pocket lining, and then you line the curve and sew that. Then we're gonna change our thread and top stitch. And this would be the view, I think view A is the one that's the other rise. I'm doing the one that goes all the way across right here. So we'll do that. And then let's see. Yeah, then we lay them on top of each other. I'm going to finish this edge, and then it should all line flush with that, and that's going to line flush with the front. I just want mine to end before this line right here because this folds back on itself, and that's double the fabric. So I think that's where I went different last time. And that's what I'm going to do this time too. So I know I went over that really quickly, but mostly I did that for my own benefit to make sure I don't back myself into a corner again. So, all right, so I'm going to top stitch this guy onto here. And this is basically the background of your pocket. Like when you're putting your hand into your pocket, your palm is touching this as it goes into your pocket like that. It's just so that you don't have a whole pocket made out of denim, which would be too bulky. That's why they do that. You could do, your pocket bag like facing out in the pant. Like you could do that instead of doing this, and it would show. Maybe if you had like a cute fabric or something. This is a pretty lightweight fabric, so I don't want to do that. It's ideal for a pocket bag. There's one. My denim is stretchy, so I'm kind of fighting it right now to make sure that it doesn't get stretched out as I top stitch it down onto the pocket bag. It really wants to do its own thing, but this is not stretchy and this is. And I'm just top stitching it in that serge seam, just like that. And ideally, you're going to serge some of these things like after you put them together, like here, Like you wouldn't do these pieces beforehand. We're only doing that because we're sewing live here, so I don't have to switch between the machines. And I'm not really sewing as completely an instructional here. I do it mostly to hang out with you guys and to see what questions you have and to figure things out together, and just more of a social way to support each other while we're sewing, right? Okay, so here we go. I'm going to attach this here, right sides together, just like that. Let's get this out of our way. Like that. And I'm making sure that my pant stays up on the table here so it doesn't pull, especially since it's stretchy. And this curve, because there's a curve here, can get really stretched out because that's all bias. Thanks. Yeah, I feel like when I'm picking out things like this, it's like there's lots of options. Okay, so that seam allowance is way too narrow there, so I'm glad I checked it. I felt it when I was trimming, so I'm going to go back, make sure I get all of that in there like that. So if I get rid of this, you'll see it better. Partly this is the stretch, partly because, when we cut, we're not always exactly the same. So now I'm going to clip into this curve. And this is so that when we turn it right sides out, it's gonna lay nice and smooth. Let's do our other one and then we'll turn them and top stitch. I'm gonna have to switch to my top stitch thread in a second. I am back stitching with these because I don't want them to pull apart at the top when I go to assemble the waistband. You know me, I don't usually top stitch unless I really have to, or I mean back stitch unless I really have to. But I'm going to back stitch on these things because when I pull it to the inside, I'm going to be pulling on that, and I don't want to pull it apart. So I don't do unnecessary back stitching, but I do definitely do it where it's necessary. There we go. So now when we turn it to the inside, I really want all that white fabric to go onto the inside of the pant so that none of it's showing. I wouldn't want that to be showing because remember, it's going to be laying against this, right? So that white would really show if I don't get it all the way into the pocket. Now I could understitch it right now and then top stitch it. That's a little bit overkill, but if you're really wanting to make sure that it goes in there, you could do that. We could do that on, how about we compare? We'll do it on one and not the other and see which one works better. So I'm going to understitch the pocket bag, so I'm pushing all of the seam allowance towards it, and I'm really going to pull this apart, so I really want to get all of that fabric to the inside. Okay, so it's already, watch, going to want to sit to the inside better than the other side, see, without doing anything. So then once we top stitch it, it will lay really nice. Whereas this one, I may have a little bit creep up, you know. I kind of want to understitch the other ones to make sure, but I feel like it's a good experiment. We'll just have to make sure we get that in there. So let's switch the top stitch thread. I'm using this really beefy, I just had it here. This really beefy top stitch thread that came with the closet case jean making kit. What the heck? Where is it? Do you guys see it? It's so funny. Where'd it go? Here's my pants. Here's my oh, maybe I put it in my, oh, no, I didn't. Okay. Well, that's annoying. I want that thread. I have another bag here, and it is the same color. So the thread came in this little kit right here. So it came with all the rivets, the zipper, the snaps, a needle, and this thread. Which is, I see it now. Okay, great. I'm trying to keep this intact, you know, for next time. I need like, you know how in a bowling alley, when you, you know, you take your turn and you bowl and the ball hits the pins and then it goes behind the thing and then it comes right back up to you. That's what I need here for anything I drop on the floor. And then I need it to return to me right here, you know? Wouldn't that be genius? I'm a very organized person when it comes to like my sewing room, and everything is like in a bin and labeled and everything, but when you're sitting here streaming and you're trying to have everything at your fingertips, I probably knock things off onto the floor more often than I normally would. And I'm pretty klutzy. I've told you guys that, right? I've admitted that. Okay, so let's get these out of the way. Backs out of the way. Top stitch our pocket. So now I'm going to have a lot of stitching there. because I'll have that third row with the understitch, but no one's really going to see that, right? Just me. We're going to make sure. Ironing this would probably be a really good idea, so let's do that. Especially this side. Mine's still hot, which is great. I think the best way to iron something like this when you absolutely don't want anything to show is to iron it from the back side. And I'll say that again in just a second. Yeah, dog. That would be awesome, right? I've thought about bringing my dog Molly here, but I thought, oh gosh, what if just on the off chance she starts like barking in the background? I've definitely watched live streams where the dog starts barking or something, or suddenly he's like, I have to go outside, you know, so I feel like when you're ironing something that you absolutely don't want any of this to creep to the other side because the fabric color is going to show really obviously, iron it from this side. That way you can see a little thin line of the blue, and we know that that won't happen. So, all right. I'm going to do 2 rows. I'm not going to backstitch this, and I'm definitely going to have some tension issues because this thread is quite a bit beefier. I left my regular bobbin thread on. There's no way my machine would handle this thread as a bobbin. Not calibrated how it is right now. I'm not going to recalibrate my machine. Top stitching is not a functional stitch. I need the functional part of my machine to be 100% at all times. So. I think when you're doing top stitching like this, like where you really need it to be even, you know, like even from the edge or even from each other, not stopping while you're doing it will give you a nice smooth line a lot easier. And I know you can do it. Like, I just think we hesitate sometimes, and when we hesitate, it's just like anywhere. If you're walking down the street and you hesitate, you're going to trip, right? It's the same idea with something like this. You really want a nice continuous stitch line. So go slow and go steady if you are a little bit nervous, but keep going. Because if you have to stop, you're most likely going to get a stutter. And make your hands work. Make those hands do a lot of the manipulation. Make sure that the pants are not pulling on the needle. You don't want the pants to direct it. There we go. So here we go. There's our top stitching. Okay, so I'm going to French seam my bottom of the pocket. I gotta change my thread back though. It's nice when you have 2 machines set up. One can have your top stitching. And you know, I might try that sometime where I put my home machine with the thread, the top stitch thread, because I could also then use one of those nifty double needles. Alright, let me, I want to stitch on something you know. I don't have any scrap fabric. I thought I had scrap fabric sitting here. Oh yeah, I do, yeah. I just need that that first little bit to stitch on my machine. It'll look nicer. Okay, so if this is confusing on how these get attached, put it on, sorry, I keep lifting my presser foot. This, right? I'm gonna do French seams, so I want to do wrong sides together first and then right sides together. I could use white thread, but I just don't want to pick a thread color. No one's going to see this but me. No one's going to see it really. And if you look at most jeans, they are like this. Like they are navy blue thread on here. So, or whatever thread color they chose to sew together with. Making sure that I don't catch that other pocket bag. You could clip this if you want to make it a little easier to turn. I'm going to do that. I say always set yourself up for the easiest path possible. Anytime you have to struggle, it takes your focus away from other things. And then we can iron this, and then we'll top stitch it the last pass, and then we'll have one pocket. So, to keep it straight, I'm going to lay it like this. This, and then wrong sides together, making sure I know exactly what I want. All right, so I don't really have a sewing plan for next week. I have ordered a few patterns. I don't think they'll arrive in time. I had wanted to do pajamas. That was on the schedule. And then I accidentally sewed that that Rita shirt as a pajama top. And I did buy a pajama pattern because I still think that would be fun to have another set of pajamas. Especially now that, you know, I have people staying with me. It's nice to have pajamas. I feel more comfortable walking around the house. They're not just like chunky shirt and, you know, comfy stuff. All right, so I'm going to iron this little edge here and then do my last French seam. Right on the edge there. There's one. French seams are so funny. Like, they're so much easier to iron if you iron it to where the seam allowance is one direction first. Just like iron the seam open and then fold it along the edge. Then it'll sew a lot easier. Or iron and fold right there a lot easier. I can see my seam allowance in there, so I know exactly where to go. But that is on the inside of my pocket. This is the outside. Still on the inside of my pant too. There we go. So that's how it looks. This denim is starting to curl and it's bugging me. I don't like stuff that curls. See, that's how it'll look on the inside of the pant, just like that. On the outside, just like that. So what are you guys sewing? Are you guys doing anything right now? Like, are you guys crafting? Are you sewing? Are you sewing for you? Or is anyone starting like holiday sewing, gift sewing? I think I might sew a couple of gifts this year. There we go. All right, now I'm going to top stitch this side seam down here so that it lays nice and flat. I think I'm going to do it from the wrong side. Oh, the curling. This reminds me of like a knit, how a knit will do that. So I'm going to flatten this out. Flatten this out. Just like that. Just going to top stitch all this edge together. Just like there. I don't want those to poke into my side seams once we get there, and I don't want to forget about those. So I'm going to get rid of those little top stitch tails. All right, so let's see how this is laying here. So, see, this little panel goes all the way into the zipper fly, and then I was supposed to have sewn this against that edge right there. Oh, your vacation sewing. Oh, how fun. Oh, cool. What undie pattern are you using, Mullen? I've actually been thinking maybe I would do that because so many people are interested in sewing, and I used to sew a lot of knits. I have a cover stitch machine too. So I think like I am not a big fan of all of this being like extra, so I think what I might do is cut this probably like maybe to right here. And then that way, there, like, because I could cut it to where it goes here. Because remember, I should have included this with this, but I didn't want that to fold back, and I knew that at the time. I still could have gone about this a little bit better. And I just keep forgetting that this pattern is like this. It's not something that is common. It's a really nice extra, though. And I actually like it. I like it because then you have less to iron when you're, you know, like you shouldn't have to iron pants, right? But sometimes we have to iron like little bits near the pocket, and this is going to cut down on that. And, you know, the tummy panel is really nice. So I think what I'm going to do, and I'll tell you my reasoning, is I'm not going to cut this off and leave it here. Like I could cut it off like right here. And then this is going to fold back, and it's going to top stitch and encase all of that edge, you know, under there. But the problem with doing that is that I would have this like inch about right from here to here, just loose flapping in there because I didn't get it caught inside this little stitch right here. So what I'm going to do is probably go just past where this is going to get top stitch right here, and then that way that edge will get kind of caught in there. So that's my thinking on that. Let's see how this one is over here. Oh, wow. That's great, Ida. I love cuffs because then you don't have to hem, you know. It is a little bit of an extra step in some ways, but I hate when I have to figure out like where I want the hem, what kind of hem I want. You know what I mean? All right, so let's see here. Just making sure this lays nice and flat. I just don't want it to like pull. I don't want it to be obvious on the outside that there's a pocket bag in there that's kind of tugging on it or anything like that. So I'm just kind of looking at it, making sure. And once I top stitch this down, I'm going to look at it on the other side. Because see, like this right here is my side seam. So the fact that all this extra is hanging off is less than ideal. And that is because like your fabrics relax over time. You may not cut them as precisely. I remember I made all those pattern modifications. And while I made sure that all my pockets lined up to those, it still can make for wonkiness, you know. Lady Undies from Sewing Heart Design. Oh, 8 different patterns of one. You cut out 3. You cut out 3 of one of the patterns. You get 200 stitch. I haven't heard either of those pattern companies. I've heard of Itch to Stitch. Is the cami like just like a simple like strappy tank top, that kind of thing? You know? Where are you going on vacation? I want to know that part too. somewhere a little warmer, it sounds like. Okay, so same thing. I'm going to probably put this all the way up to that edge. Then I'm going to cut that right there. And then this is going to encase it, and it's going to be invisible. So let's look at, I'm going to pin these down as if they're cut, and then we'll see how we like how it's laying. Pin this kind of away from the edge. Same here. Ooh. So are you going to Australia? That's a long, that's a long flight for you, right? It was for me. I've only been to Sydney for a week, and then I went to New Zealand for 2 weeks. It was really awesome. I'd love to go back to Australia because I really don't feel like I saw it. Okay, that's looking nice and flat. I'm going to just tack this right here. A little bit. Just a little bit of it right now. I'm going to tack this one nice and flat. It is more important that this lays flat than you line up the edges. Oh, how fun. Are you going there for like the holidays, like to celebrate them, or just to hang out? You have time off and stuff like that? Because that's a time commitment. All right, so let's see. I'm going to trim this right now so then we can finish our fly zipper. I'm going to kind of crease it, pull it out. I'm going to cut it along that crease right there that you probably cannot see. Just like that. It's going to go in there. Yeah, so it's a shame I keep botching the steps on sewing this pocket. I apologize, you guys. It's just not my usual way to sew these. So, and it's such a nice little detail. I'm going to actually fold this about where I want to cut it, because I want it to be about right here, like that. Like that. This is the side I'm going to top stitch, so that's actually going to get sewn down. I'm going to pin this like this. I'm going to pin it far away from where I'm going to be stitching. I'm just going to pin it so it's stabilized so I don't have to worry about it. I'm going to do it a few times just so that I know that that's going to get in there and lay flat. Oh, wow. Yeah, absolutely, Melanie. I would do the same thing. Yeah, we went for almost 3 weeks. It was really fun. I would love to go to Melbourne. It seems like there's a lot of really creative stuff happening there. Just like that. I think yeah, like that. That's what I'm going to do. I kind of want to sew this down. I'm going to sew this down like this. Because this one's not going to get top stitched down. So I'm going to actually, I'm going to secure it like this. Like that. All right, so I'm going to finish our zipper fly. I think what we have left now is to do the curved top stitch, tack our fly shield on there, and then take out the basting stitch, and then our zipper fly will be complete. So I'm going to switch back to my top stitching thread. I really like talking to you guys about the pattern drafting stuff, so maybe I'll do a little bit more of that. That kind of stuff makes a lot of sense to me. It you probably do it better than sewing, to be honest. I have a lot of odds and ends around the office of things that I need to finish sewing. Like I have an Archer button-up sitting right next to me that I cut out. And then I have some like holiday gift bags, I think I mentioned to you guys, that were printed on Spoonflower and designed by Heidi Kenny, and they're really cute. And then I have a few needle cases here, like for chicken boots. And I have a quilt to bind. That should be pretty quick. So I'm thinking that maybe I'll do some of my odds and ends sewing for you guys next week. And then come up with our next plan. I'm so out of sorts these days, you know. I have a little less time to plan. Mainly just like no one's taking it away from me. It's just like my head's a little bit scattered, you know. All right, so let me make sure I'm back on track here. I've got my zipper fly there, just like that. There is a fly top stitching template in the pattern. So I can feel where my curve is right here, and I'm going to kind of connect with this right here. That's my plan. I'm going to make sure my pant is going to be able to not pull on there. Feeling that curve. I actually think I might just kind of connect this a little bit. Like that. And I'm going to do one more. And remember, my zipper teeth don't start till like right here. See right there? Where is that? Let's see. To make sure. This is where my zipper teeth are, right there. Is that? Oh, yeah, see? Yeah, exactly, Malin. I feel like when I was in high school, if they had given me that option of being an engineer and told me that that was a thing, I would have actually really done well at that, you know? Like, I would have really enjoyed that. Okay, where is it? It's right here. I'm cutting it really close. I'm going to, like, hand walk my wheel. There we go. I'm kind of doing this. I'm kind of cheating right there, I know. There we go. That's okay. Definitely could be sewing these in a different order, but now my pocket bag is secured. So basically you're just seeing how someone cobbles together jeans on the fly. What I do when I'm in a pickle. So yeah, I see my zipper is also taller than my pants, and that's going to be okay. So, hi Christy, how are you doing? Yeah, it's that kind of weekend, right? You're either like just laying low or you're really busy. All right, so I'm going to take out my basting stitch now. Pretty sure that's my next step. I'm using my alds because I don't really need to use my seam ripper. It's a really wide stitch, and I do find that, funny enough, denim isn't that forgiving of the stitching. You can kind of see it there. So I want it to be as little stress on the seam as possible. There's something about the being stretched that kind of makes it a little less forgiving, and you can kind of see where it was. It'll probably relax over time though and go away, you know. kind of satisfying too. I'm just going to shorten this so I don't have to do that long tail. Did you crumble in, Dawn? Is that your autocorrect? Okay, so I'm going to get that really close there. Make sure I don't have any more. And then I'm going to pull out the, where is it? Right, I can see one little loop there. Oh, that's not it. Let's see. Where'd it go? Oh yeah, here, this is it. If I could get one little edge there, it'd be great. I did actually. That's great, Christy. I actually did. That's the only thing I took advantage of was their sale. And basically, like, the way it worked out is that I got one pattern almost for free. You know, I didn't, like, when I rethreaded my oh no, that's stitched. It's like very, I've got this like thread start stop. I must have changed my thread right there. Oh, I see you're starting to say don't. That's awesome. I hate that when that happens. I feel like typing the letter M is too close to the backspace button, and so sometimes I'll write a word and when I write M, I'll hit backspace. So then it deletes the letter before, and then it's just a totally different word, and then it autocorrects, and I'm like, okay, I'm in a really vicious loop now, you know? All right, so here's our zipper. Doo-doo-doo. I'm going to tack our fly shield. I think it's to, oh, I probably should have done that. No. Wait. No, it's this one here, right? Yeah, it's this one. I'm actually going to make that a little long right there. Cover that all up just like that. Gets a little tight. Oh, I need to switch my thread. Mountain View. Want some pull-on jeans? It's, oh. That's cool. So there's a couple of pull-on jeans out there. We got to try those, you guys. I've got denim in spades right now. I really need to. Melanie, you said you're an engineer. What kinds of things do you design or work on? If you don't mind me asking. All right, so I'm gonna just top stitch my shield. You see how long it is? I left that so you could see how much I lowered my waistline. Yeah, the Jolly, I have a friend that's done a lot of their patterns. She really likes them. I can't remember what it is, because she was sewing with that company and another company, like a few of them at the same time. And I know one of them is really great at providing modifications and instruction, and has a great Facebook group. Oh, computer programs. Oh, okay. Yeah, I have a friend who's a computer engineer as well. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to just look at my fly zip like that. I just want to cut all that off right now, but I'm going to wait until I'm close to putting my waistband on. But there's my zipper fly. Works good. So you could do some like bar tacks right here. You know, like your pants have, like, oh, I'm not wearing store-bought. I'm wearing my ginger jeans right now. I was actually going to look at a few and see where that's at. And I think it includes the fly shield as well. And it helps to release, you know, like relieve like any strain that you're going to put on your zipper as you know, open and close it. Thanks, Christy. I really want us to be like a nice little seamless pair of ginger jeans as we sew them together. But yeah, I tend to do this. I like do it in the order I want, and then I get myself into a pickle, and then I have to get myself out. And so really what you're seeing is if you got yourself into a pickle, this might be one of the ways you would get yourself out of it. So and when people ask like how my stream is and what I do, I'm like, well, it's not very instructional. Like it may seem like it is, but there are videos out there that are instructional videos, and they're going to be like thought out, filmed well, have all the steps. They're not going to skip anything. They're going to think of everything, and it's going to be like nice point A to point B to point C, you know. I don't think you guys come here for that. So, all right, let's see. I'm liking this. It looks good. Now we put our pants together, which I have right here. Here's my backs, my loop-de-loops. So our side seam together, and then the rise. I was going to kind of see how they do this, because it gets really tricky to top stitch. I know, Christy. I actually said that, I think, probably right before you came in because of the fabric I picked. It's like one of those things, like, I get to it and I get so overwhelmed with, like, the things I can pick, and then I just pick something, because it's like whatever you pick, it's going to be really cute. So just remember that. And, you know, like I will say, like the ginger jeans I'm wearing now, remember I used that like blue and yellow floral on the cream background? The cream background has like absorbed denim coloring over the number of times that I've washed them. So if you don't want that to happen, you might pick something that is a little darker. So I imagine these pockets too, they're gonna have a blue tinge eventually, and I think a lot of our jeans do that. Some jeans are made with polyester pockets so that you don't see it as much, and I think that's kind of why, you know, so because the polyester doesn't absorb the dye as easily. All right, so let's see. Looks like let's look at it from the beginning. Okay. So I think like I'll do the inseam first and top stitch it. Side seams. And you only top stitch to the bottom of the pocket. According to their directions, that's what they like to do. That's because the leg hole gets so tight to have to try and top stitch in there. That's probably why. And the reason you top stitch the inseam, you're not doing it from an aesthetic look. You're probably doing it, they probably have you do this because it's a high abrasion area, because your legs rub together, your knees knock together, your thighs rub together, and having that top stitch there provides more seam integrity to the pants. That's probably why. It'd be nice if, pattern companies could explain some of the reasoning that they're doing on a lot of those things, but they would just run out of space, to be honest, you know? Because I think, like, I was thinking about this because when I was ironing this shirt this morning, this is an Archer button-up, and it's one I had printed on Sprout patterns. And by the way, Sprout is closing its doors, and their last orders are by November 30th, and they do have a coupon right now. I feel like it's 20% off right now, but if you go to their Instagram, you'll see it. So if you just wanted to try it, they have even just like DOP bags, like little bathroom bags. And if you don't want to do clothing, if you want to do something small and affordable, it is really fun because, like, say you decide you want to make like a little DOP kit for all of your friends. You can print on Sprout one of those and then layer a bunch of fabrics underneath that you have in your stash and cut out a bunch at one time, and your pattern's right on there. You don't have to print it out. You don't have to pin it. You don't have to do anything. So it is kind of a really fun way to put something together. So, but anyway, I was saying, like, when I was ironing this shirt, This one was my first Archer, and I accidentally sewed the top collar as the under collar, I think it was. Thanks, Christy. I think it was either this one or the other one that I did, because I got two at the time. I know my out seams aren't going to match because I've modified this pattern so much. And I noticed on the Archer that they have the under collar in a seam down the middle of the collar, and that under collar pattern is on the bias. And I remember the first time I saw that, because it was on Sprout, I was like, okay, why? I really can't rearrange the pieces. They're already printed on there. I thought about it later, like, why wouldn't that, well, I thought about it at that moment. I was thinking, why isn't this pattern piece just on the fold then, right there? Like, why, even if it's on the bias, you could put it on the fold. Then I realized later, oh, you couldn't do that. That would be too big of a piece on the bias. It would be too stretchy. That center back seam, gives some stability. So, it's like those little things. They're not going to write that in the pattern instructions. Maybe they do. I've actually never read them through. But, that is partly why, it's like you just run out of room if you provided your logic and reasoning. Oh, I didn't want to do the out seam, you guys. I wanted to do the inseam. Shoot, because I really want to do the top stitching. Dang it. I was just telling you why we do the inseam first, and then I and then I did the side seam. Sheesh. Okay. I'm going to pin the crotch seam. Mine are staggered, and I do that so that there's less bulk there. See, so my back seam is pressed one way, and my front seam is pressed this way. This is my seam. This is my seam. These are my top stitches. They're not going to match. You can have it match. I just like the bulk at my crotch to be staggered there, the bulk of the seams, to make them more comfortable. So now I'm going to have to struggle with top stitching part of that. I'm actually going to start at my crotch seam here and then go the other way. The reason I'm doing that is because I have changed my patterns a little bit. I know that the hems aren't lining up perfectly. I'm not worried about the hem length. So I just kind of, why did I stop before ending the seam? Down here, they don't match. Is that what you mean? They just don't match, that's all. That's what I was saying, like my inseams aren't going to match because of the pattern alterations I made. Yeah. That's all. I tried to catch things like that when I was making all my pattern things, but I was like, eh. And some pants will have you ease between it. You see, like, yeah, this one's a little bit, I didn't even cut the denim, so it's not like off grain or anything. It's just not cut there. I just let the, because I was, like, that was close to the end of my denim. I just let it hang off. I have to shorten these quite a bit to fit me. See, look, they're even opposite, but can you see my grain line is off there? So now I'll go from this side. I know I needed to line up right here. So if you cut yours out perfectly and you didn't make any modifications, you can start from one hem, go all the way around to the other hem. Be a lot easier. But I know I want my rise to match right there, right? Have to. So that's why I'm starting it like this. Some pants you do ease between 2 points. I don't remember if these are. Yeah, I'm pretty sure these aren't. Hopefully not. Well, that sounded funny. Did you see my machine hesitate right there? Gotta look at that. I'm going to straighten that out right there. Got a little wibble. A little wibble wobble. Oh yeah, that's smart. That's actually a really smart thing to do, Christy, because the grain line is really, really important. We talked about that in one of the earlier videos. And to make sure that you don't get any twisting, you really need to make sure that your grain line is perfectly parallel to the selvage. So, and I actually did that. I actually lifted my fabric up and looked at both sides because I don't want torquing either. They're selling a good quality denim though, so she probably doesn't have as much to worry about as you might if you bought denim somewhere less reputable, you know. But she's obviously sewn enough of them to know and probably encountered that, because you just don't know sometimes. And twill has a natural tendency to do that because, you know, you can see the diagonal lines. It's just part of the nature of the grain. Be interesting to understand why it's a twill weave. I feel like I used to know that. It might be sturdier than a plain weave, because plain weave is just, you know, a warp and a weft, and they're just like a basket, you know. Kind of. It's not a basket weave though, so I know. I don't know my weaving. I was not a textile major. I know enough to know I don't know a lot. Alright, so that's my inseam. I'm going to top stitch that. And I think I'm going to remove my side seam here just to make it a little bit easier. So that I can top stitch it without so much trouble. It's hard. Last time I did do that, I top stitched the outer and the inseam on both of my ginger jeans. Remember that? But it wasn't easy. I don't like taking seams out like that because it leaves a lot of threads. But we're just doing it to save a little time. It's probably not going to save me time, honestly, because I'll have to go back and get all these little threads, you know? You know how I feel about those little threads. I do have this interesting little tool with it's like it has an eraser on the tip of it, and you rub it to get rid of these little things. It works pretty good. I just never have it handy because I don't usually take out seams like that. All right. I need some music. I really need to figure that out. I need some video guru to help me with all that. Maybe I will start having more time soon. So maybe I'll just take out this whole side seam and we can go from one ankle to the other. That'll be more fun. And I definitely want a nice continuous stitch with the top stitching, you know what I mean? Mountain View pull-on looks very interesting. Oh, yeah. And it's on sale. Okay, I'm going to check that out. There we go. All right, let's top stitch our inseam. Did you guys catch? Is it on the front or the back? I feel like it goes to the front. Wait, let me look. Let me look. Yep, onto the front. It's probably impossible for you guys to see that. It looks very jeansy, that pattern does. I like it when it looks jeansy. I wear a lot of pull-on pants. I really like them. They're just really comfortable when you're sitting down a lot, you know. And they're more flattering because there's not all that bulk in the front. They're a little bit of a, you know, acrobatic act getting them on because they are pretty snug around the hips. Looks good. I can hear my machine doesn't really like this. It just sounds a little bit different, you know? It's like, I can tell that it's looser on the bottom. Trying to keep that weight up onto the machine. It's nice that I staggered my seams right here purely because that would have been a lot thicker had they been going one direction. Yeah, you'll be fine, Malin. I think like oh, you mean for that mountain view? I'll have to look at that. Are they very low rise? Oh, I ran out of bobbin. That's why it sounded funny. Oh man. I don't like it when I have a back stitch where my top stitch is. Can you guys tell if they're very low rise? Because if they're not right at the waist, Malin, they probably aren't. You're probably fine because you don't have to, you know, go that far up, so they don't have to be that small. They don't have to get down to that smaller size. And you might look and see what people have said. I'm going to try and line up my holes. There we go. One important note, it's super hard to find fabric that has a 20 to 30% stretch. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But it depends on how they are measuring that, Christy. Because I would look for a blog post or a tutorial on their website on how to determine the stretch. If they're going by what the fabric company says, it's probably differently calculated than how you would do it at home. Because remember how I had like that little piece of fabric and then I pulled from here, you know, like this. So say this was this was a bigger ruler, right? Like an 18-inch ruler, and I had a 10-inch piece of fabric and I held it at one end and I stretched. You see that? Like this right here, that's 20% right there. I can tell because if you can stretch like say this for like 20%, if I can stretch this more than an inch, which I can, that's 20%. And this was listed as 2 to 3%. And I think it's because this was listed as 2 to 3% Lycra. So it probably has the right amount of stretch. So you might look and see how to determine that. Unless they are like, no, this is a different kind and you really need to make sure that it has that kind of stretch. The key is the waistband. The waistband needs to be able to stretch that much. Yeah, because the percent on Lycra and the percent of stretch are different things, you know what I mean? So just make sure. Robert Kaufman has on fabric.com has one. If it's Robert Kaufman, it's probably a pretty decent fabric. Pretty sure they have some good. They've been getting more and more into yarn dyes. You know, like wovens and things rather than printed cottons and stuff. I don't want my pants to fall off the end there because then it'll just pull. that seems to be staying still. There we go. That's not too bad. It's not too noticeable. All right, now let's do my side seams. I'm gonna have to switch back soon again. My thread. This is why taking the time to seam rip leaves less mess. I mean, I'm not selling these, right? So it's going to go through the laundry. That'll take care of some of it. Yeah, I'll definitely do better about posting a picture of me wearing them. And maybe I'll try and get a picture of me wearing my ginger jeans before the ones I'm wearing now. And then these, like, to show the differences. If I can, you know. I got to replace my button on my ones I'm wearing. You saw that it cracked in half, right? Kind of sad. Someone gave me that button as a gift. Probably not meant to go through the laundry. I usually put those wooden buttons on my hand knits. Or things that aren't going to get machine washed. Yeah, but I'll definitely try and show a picture of me wearing them. Okay. All right, just get it started, and then I'm going to arrange everything up here. Anything touches the floor in my office, then it is thready after that. I'm kind of going by my smallest seam, meaning the part that's sticking out, that's not what I'm lining up to the back pant. I'm lining up the shortest one. I don't want to shortchange my seam. And pocket isn't, as critical, but the up there, that hip part, that is part of your, your pattern and your shaping and your sizing. So you can't trim off too much because it's not just pocket. You need to make sure that you're leaving enough for that waistband later on. My waistband, I didn't end up altering it. I just left it long. It was fine. I did end up cutting my waistband on the length grain rather than the cross grain because I didn't want the well, I shouldn't say that. They have you cut it on the length grain. I'm saying that completely backwards. So that the waistband goes like this, and here's the length grain. But then that means the waistband has a lot of stretch in it, and I don't want that. So I ended up recutting my waistband out so that the length of it went parallel to the selvage edge, so that the length grain is running along my waistband and going to go around my body, because there isn't nearly any, there's not any stretch in the length of these, just in the width. And so I want my waistband to not get stretchier over the course of the day or get just relaxed in any way. I like a nice stout waistband. That's my own preference. Some people do like that little bit of give you can give yourself by cutting it that way. There's a lot of ways to cut a waistband. You can do like the outer on one grain or the other grain, and then the inner on the seam and on the bias. You can do the whole waistband on the bias. You'll probably, once you start making pants, you'll start noticing how yours in your closet are sewn. And I notice a lot of mine are on the bias. It's kind of interesting. I don't want a lot of stretch, and even though I don't have any issues with those, they also have interfacing in them, so that's making them less stretchy. So I don't really see the point of putting it on the bias if you're going to take out the stretch by putting a non-stretch interfacing in there. It just takes up a lot of fabric when you put it on the bias. But I'm not a jeans expert, so there could be lots of things that go into thinking about that. It'd be really interesting to kind of look at all that. I'm excited you guys are going to make those pull-on pants. I really want to see them. I'm pretty sure I follow Christy on Instagram. I don't know if I know who you are on Instagram, Malin. Do I follow you already? Are you on there? I want to see your guys' mates. It's fun. Okay. I've got pants. I gotta switch my thread back 2 more times before we get to the waistband. And do this little side seam bit. Okay, I can probably find that. I don't ever follow people who are private. So maybe I've seen you and you're private. I tend to like respect people's wishes when they're private, you know? I figure they're just like do it for their family or their grandkids or whatever, or you know, there's lots of reasons. I'm gonna open my fly to give me a little more space here while I top stitch the side seam here. I'm gonna push it to the back. Push the seam to the back. It's kind of cool if the yoke lines up right above, so the bulk of the yoke is above the opening to the pocket. Ooh, cool. Yeah, that's awesome. And it says just to go to the bottom of the pocket. My bottom of my pocket's coming up, so you don't really have to go very far. It's right here. Just like that. That's all you have to do. Maybe we need to do a mountain view pattern sew along. Oh, PDF. Is there a print pattern? Please tell me there's a print version. Maybe that's why I didn't get it. The thing is, I have a wide format, excuse me, I have a wide format printer here. It's just not hooked up. Yeah, we could have a sew along. That would be really fun. Yeah, I was going to say, do you want to start it in January? Or, Christy, are you really hot to trot on those? You just ordered them, so maybe you'd be down for waiting till January. Then maybe we can get a few other people on board. That would be fun. I'd love to have a sew along. Okay. Now it's time for the waistband. I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but it's my least favorite part. But I really want to see my pants, so should we do it today? I'm down. Let's finish these. Okay, cool, Christy. That's perfect. And then maybe we can see if a few other people want. I can send it in the newsletter or something. They might miss the sales, the only thing. But is there a print version or is it just PDF? Because if it's PDF, then that'll give some time for all of us to get it printed, you know? I should have someone hook up my plotter. All right. I'm pretty sure. Okay, let's cut this off at the top here. Right between the teeth. Boom. Okay, now I cannot lift up my zipper yet. I'm going to secure this by, I'm not going to sew on the teeth. I'm going to be really careful. Sorry, I just whacked the microphone. I'm going to do both sides just in case. I'm just pulling out this because this is like, it like pulled against itself, got caught in another stitch, another seam. So I'm just pulling that out. It just looks nicer. There's no reason. There's nothing wrong with it. Only a PDF? Okay. Go with the waistband. All right. I'm doing it. My last one came out pretty good. I don't know why I get funny about certain things. It's probably because like early on I had a lot of trouble doing that step or something, you know? It's like I had a lot of trouble doing welt pockets. I would get really cocky about that. And then waistbands, you know, I probably was a little overeager and didn't do good enough prep for that. And that's, you know, not a good thing. The waistband's the last step, but it's a really important one. Okay, I'm just going to take a look at everything. I don't like that I didn't have the, let's trim this off right here. I'm just going to trim all this off right here. Because I didn't have iron on, remember? Wait. Why is there stitching lines there? There we go. Oh, that's okay. Okay. And I think I could use a bar tack right there. Pull down my fly shield. Just want to be careful I don't pull my zipper off the top. I did secure it, but I'm not going to trust that quite yet. Yeah, so I could use a bar tack right here. And I'm going to do that. I don't have a zigzag on this machine. I don't have one of those kinds of industrials. I have had one of those before. It was a really great industrial. It didn't have all the automatic stuff, but you can get them where they do straight stitch and zigzag. So that's pretty cool. Mine doesn't have that though, so I have to do that on my home machine. And so then we can secure that fly shield to be a little less wiggly like this. I did make mine a little longer. That's why it's hanging right here. I wanted to cover up all that. Like that. And putting that bar tack there is going to help that. And, you know, that'll eventually just kind of get broken in, I think. Let's see. Just kind of looking them over. Make sure I don't forget anything before I do my last step. They look pretty cute, though. Wouldn't mind a deeper pocket. Maybe that would be my next modification. Okay, so I only serged one edge of my waistband. And I'm going to sew my waistband the way I did the last time, where I leave the inside flat and not turn it under and top stitch. Wait, where's my, I need a center notch. Thought I had one there. Guess not. Okay. Actually, I need it down here. Make sure I got that lined up. Just a little one. I like the triangle because it's more visual. And it's probably on, like, yeah, it's on this one right here. You see it? But the serger is obscuring it a little bit. So sometimes that's why I do the nip like that, because you can see it even once it's serged. Whereas like right here, this would have been a little harder to see if it wasn't as deep as that. And, you know, because there's a white thread in denim, sometimes you can kind of see where something's cut because the white threads kind of shine out at you. All right, so the interfacing goes to the outer waistband, and it doesn't need to be serged. Do I have this the right angle? No, upside down. Just like this. I'm going to look at their instructions so that I sew it similarly to the way they do it. And that way, you know, if you're following along with their instructions, I'm not like doing something kooky, because I know I tend to do kooky things. Let's see. Yeah, so I need to stay stitch my waistband. Sole length finish seam, zigzag or serge, press side seams to the back, top spinach. Okay, yeah, similar waistband. Okay, so sew along the curved side of the waistband at the top edge. And so this is going to make it so that I think that your waistband is completely finished on the inside. So we could do that if you guys want. It does look really nice. We could do that. I didn't need to serge then, but I can just fold it up and put it in there. So they leave the end of the waistband not stitched right here. Hi, Rebecca. Kooky all the way. Yeah, I know. I've got a kooky way of sewing. I told you I'm not here as an instructional maven. I'm not an expert. Okay, so I'm looking at their instructions to make sure I don't do them too kooky. See? And look, I'm reading the instructions, Rebecca. Come on. All right. Okay, this is exactly how I would have done it. I think this is how I did my last one. Oh yeah, we have our carriers too. I forgot about those. I have them cut. They're here somewhere. Well, you know how that goes too. I probably accidentally threw it away going, what's that? Oh, actually, I think I might have. That's funny. Now I remember seeing a pattern piece. But I'm thinking that I'd like to do the rivets this time too. Okay, so let's put a stay stitch on the waist seam. See, look at how curly this is getting. Yuck. Hate that. It's a pet peeve. Alright. I'm going to sew from the inside. I'm going to keep my fly open for now so I don't accidentally zip it up. And I'm going to be really careful because there's my teeth. When I get close, I'm just going to walk this and I'm going to feel through it. This is going to help cut down on the waistband getting too stretched when I'm attaching it. You don't want your waist to get stretched out at this stage. I got a little wrinkle here, so I'm going to take it out right now. We don't need that, and it's because the jeans are stretchy, the pocket bag is not, remember? I thought it was actually on the back just now. I don't know why. I think I thought this was the side seam. Okay, so let's get that back on track. There we go. What are you working on, Rebecca? Okay, so I'm making sure that I'm not pulling on this waist seam because I don't want it to get stretched out right now. So I'm kind of like making sure it's flat and I'm kind of pushing it. Keeping it very loose. I really don't want to stretch out my waist. Bigger is not better, you guys. Fitting is better. Bigger is just another annoying thing. It's just as annoying as too small, you know? And, you know, if you cut your waistband to fit, it wouldn't fit if you stretched out your waist right now. So my pants are getting twisted, so I gotta straighten them out. Making sure everything's flat under there. At least I can see these zipper teeth. Okay. Looks good. I'm having trouble seeing the curved edge, sorry. There's my curved edge. Now I know my waistband is too big. The main problem with that is that I would like the curve to line up to the waistband. Oh, good, Rebecca. The way that it was intended. So I may have to line up from the center back and move out to my front so that the curve stays the same. Now I made my waistband narrower than the pattern, and remember I also changed my grain line for my waistband so that it is length grain going this way, not this way. And that is because now I have no stretch. See, the stretch is right here. Oh, look at this. This cutting looks really bad. I'm going to line it up with this edge instead because I can hide that in the seam allowance. That's more important. That these edges line up is more important because I'm going to be folding this under and I want to be able to fold it where this seam is on the pant. That'll make sense more sense in a second when I'm sewing it together. But I can hide this little inadequacy here in the seam allowance, and partly maybe it's because I serged this long edge and my serger's a little tight on this fabric because it's a single layer, and because it trimmed off some of the threads. I did cut these out separately though, so there could be some discrepancy. I have a feeling my interfacing is going to grow here. It's going to be longer than my waistband. It's just too many layers. It tends to shift a little. I just used a cotton poplin for the interfacing since I don't have any fusible right now. Fusible is really nice though for this. You know, I do have a thing about gluing my fabric though. It's just I think someone else's pet peeve that's transferred to me. You know? She was really into natural fibers. Learned a lot from her though. She owned a fabric store. Okay, so yeah, there's some definite lining up issues there, but I'm not going to worry about it now because we're going to sew this to the waistband and we have a lot extra. Like I just didn't make my waistband smaller. Okay, so let's line it up. Center back to the center back. We'll use some pins. See, I'm lining up this little V to the seam, just like that. When do you need to have that quilt done, Rebecca? You said it's for an art show? Maybe more like an artist's exhibit? I know you said so. I think I was a little nervous that night when you were telling me all that. Wait, I thought I probably didn't put my notches back in because I was in a hurry this morning when I realized I need to recut my waistband. But I do know I've adjusted my pattern to have the proper notches. I really love that positive reinforcement of seeing a notch line up. I eat that up. See all that extra I have? Okay, I'm just checking it all. Probably don't need to pin the rest of this. I just needed to get to the front edge that I'm starting with when I'm sewing. Trying to keep this in the camera too. Sorry guys. Shout at me when I don't do that. So I'm going to line this up with this edge here and just ignore that see my interfacing here got a little bit this way. This is more important than lining up my interfacing because I can catch this in the seam. See, the seam's going to be like right here. As long as the interfacing isn't torquing or pulling, and if it was, I would fully take this out and do it again because you do not want that in your waistband. You don't want to ruin your beautiful jeans at the very end because your waistband's torquing. It's kind of partly why I don't really like sewing waistbands. I feel like there's a lot on the line. You know, it's like the last finishing edge or step. Sorry, I was thinking about the edge of this. Just like that. And so you line it up with the edge of your fly extension. Okay. So do 1/2 inch seam. So we could, oh, in September. Oh, okay, great. Oh, you have plenty of time. Oh, the importance of lost, yeah. People of items of importance lost. Create work for people of items of importance lost. I'm sorry. Watch me comprehend written English live on camera. Maybe should I do this? Because we're going to clean finish the inside, I could do my trick where I sew it from the inside to the outside. But I kind of want the clean finish seam. No, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to do it this way because I actually want my seam line on the outside rather than it just being a folded under edge top stitched down because it will be a better wearing thing. You wrote that wrong. Okay. It's okay, Rebecca. All right, so I got to make sure I remember my metal teeth here. I'm going to come across them right now. They're right here. Okay, here we go. We got it. Yeah, you can tell me later. That's fine. It sounds important anyway, whatever your show is going to be about. Ooh, this pin keeps poking me over here. Stop that. I'm gonna back it off. There we go. Okay, I really want to make sure that my layers aren't shifting here because I don't want the torquing to start. That's where kind of torquing starts getting a hold of your waistband. So I release some of the pressure with my presser foot, like raising and lowering it, stuff like that. I always sew a circle like this from the inside, so the pant is out wrong side out on purpose, and then I do it from the inside. It's a lot easier than having it with all of this underneath your pant. You might accidentally catch it, and that's a drag, you know. So I like to sew it from the inside like this. Same with sleeve cuffs, little cuffs, pant hems, all that. I sew it from the inside of the circle. Doesn't matter if it's right side out or wrong side out, however you want to do it. It just means I just like it so that the inside of the circle is above my machine head like this. You know what I mean? That pin wasn't quite perpendicular and I heard my needle hit it. But certainly after sewing something like this, I'll change my needle even if I didn't have any issues because I probably did get really close to my teeth here and I just don't want anything dulling the edge of my needle. When you have skip stitches or bad tension, most likely you need to change your needle. You should change it really way more often than most people do. It's 2 hours of time that your needle is on your like sewing maybe not 2 hours like me sitting here chatting with you. My needle's not doing anything. 2 hours of your needle sewing is typically the time amount you need to do it. Of course, none of us do that, but it is a good reason to know why sometimes we're having tension issues. Okay, so let's take out all these pins before I trim so I don't accidentally cut any of my pins with my scissors, like the tips. That would be bad. All right, so I'm going to trim this edge here. I just want it to be a nice even seam. No reason. It gives me a second set of eyes on it to look at it. If this, you know how when your denim gets weathered over time when you're wearing them, and you sometimes can see the wearing of the interior cut edge of a seam through the pants? It's kind of cool. I mean, it gives it kind of that character. That's why I'm doing it too. I would like a really nice even. I know, I'm really thinking far out into the future, aren't I? That's what I do. Okay, so let's look at it. No tucks, no nothing. Looks good. So this is a good time to press this 1/2 inch up on this piece right here, because you can actually see where it's going to be, because here's your seam. You see that? Here's my seam. And I want this, I'm going to probably fold this a little bit less than the seam allowance. I want it to hang over. That way when I go to try and catch it on the inside, if it's hanging just below the seam, it'll be a little easier to top stitch accurately. It's kind of like we're binding, but we're going to be doing it more blind than usual. We're going to be doing it the way we don't like. The one that, you know, kind of strikes fear into some of us, like me. All right, I'm going to cut my seam allowance here. Just going to make it a 1/2 inch off the edge there. Bam. Same with this one. Okay, I'm going to fire up the iron. Perfect. So let's see. I'm going to top stitch this waistband from the outside. So I'm going to leave my circle like this. The reason I'm going to do that is because I really want it to look good on the outside of the pants, and that's why I'm going to do it that way. You don't have to, but that means that your bobbin thread's going to be showing on this side. So, yeah, I know, exactly. I don't like the stitch in the ditch way either. I'm just going to do it a way that I know will probably work. It may not look picture perfect on the inside like from a factory. I will tell you guys a hint. Factories have a machine that sets a waistband on, probably with no human sitting there while it's happening. I'm not joking about that. So they've got a precision way of doing it. The waistband is put on with a specific machine. All right, Christy, see you later. Thanks for the sew-along enthusiasm. Rebecca, we're going to do a sew-along, and it's the Mountain View pull-on denim pants by, oh my gosh, you guys, who is it? It's just, wait, no. Let's see. It's up here. Mountain View pant. Yeah, itch to stitch. I was going to be right when I said that. Yeah, itch to stitch. Yeah, oh, thanks, Mullen. Yeah. Yeah, so Rebecca, we're going to do these, we're going to do a little sew along, and we're not going to do it until January. So you have time to get the pattern. It's only PDF, so we'd have to have it printed. And then the fabric may be a little bit trickier to track down because it's like a 20 to 30% denim stretch. But we're going to look into that too and make sure we know exactly what they mean by that. I'll try and do some research on that for you guys and maybe find some fabrics and then maybe post it somewhere. Let me iron this waistband. Sorry about this. Oh, and Rebecca, that pattern's on sale right now. Do you got it, meaning you understand, or you already have it? Do you already own it? My seam allowance is going to be pretty narrow, you guys. I can tell already. At least in some spots it will be. I'm looking at the chat. You can't see me. Do you want me to turn I can turn the camera. You can see me iron. So riveting, isn't it? Ooh, I love it when the other waistband piece, the notch lines up, because then I feel like I have less chance of having any torquing later. It's nice reinforcement. Almost done. Action packed, yep. Never a dull moment. I can tell I'm a little distracted. Like I like start getting in my head a little bit here. Sorry. I'm not a born entertainer. I didn't really like precisely iron that anyway because I know I'm gonna adjust it when I sew. I know I'm gonna doubt part of it and make it the way I want. I'm gonna sew my look at the curling though. Ugh. Maybe there'd be less curling on the other grain line. I have a feeling there is. Okay, so I'm going to sew my end stitch here. My pants are really wanting to fight me and pull off of the table here. I'm actually going to reinforce, because remember I just cut that? I'm going to like reinforce that little corner there. All right, I'm going to like fold this just past where I want. I'm going to get rid of this thread right now so it's not hard to get in there later to do it. There's some threads you just can never snip, you know? And cut that corner. I probably have a lot more fraying happening on my denim because of the grain line that I selected, just so you guys know. But that was my choice. I did want the less stretchy waistband. Just try not to also get an angle. I may end up getting an angle. I don't want one though. Back tack, and I'm going to reinforce this little corner here since I cut off the end. Okay, so now I'm going to trim this a little bit more. I always put my thumb in there and flip my corner. Try and get those pieces to lay flat in there. And I use my awl. It does feel a little lumpy than I want. So I'm going to get rid of this little bit of extra fabric right here as well. Anything that helps that corner lay as flat as possible. You know? See what I do? I push my seam allowance there. I've just learned that over the years. Like, I don't know how. I just tried it once and it worked. Felt positive while I did it, you know? Like I was doing something right. Okay. How about this one? Let's see. I'm going to trim this now since we know that one other one gave us a little bit of trouble. I would like it to be a little pointier. I can see if I can work on that a little bit. Okay. Now, I feel like the ironing this edge of the waistband is really important. I think it'll lay it so much nicer if I get that nice and flat. It'll prevent torquing as well. I'm going to kind of like finger press it right now. Get that seam. Maybe I'll do it like I do a French seam where I press it open and then fold it right there, you know. Because, you know me, I love procrastinating the waistband. I just, my first pass is almost done here. Just like pressing it, the seam to one side so that it's nice and flat. And then I'm going to fold it along the top of the waistband and iron it down. I know you guys can't hear me very well. Sorry about that. Excuse me. I'm being a little fussy about it. It is my last seam besides my hems and my top stitching. Almost there. Action-packed indeed. But everywhere I folded it, it does look like it's going to cover the first seam. Where I turned up my waistband, it's covering up that first seam nicely. So that's a good sign. That when I go to sew it, that's actually going to happen. And I'm going to land on the waistband. Not without it. All right, that's pretty good. This one looks like it was flipping out a little bit. I don't want that. So here's my other pet peeve. You see how this is pushing like that? I used to know a trick for that. I'm trying to think what it is. I'm going to trim these so that they're not angled out. I like my corner. I used to have a method for this. I'm just trying to think of what it is. I used it on cuffs too. You have to remember, I haven't been clothes sewing for a really long time. You guys are getting me back into it. I love it. I'm like getting through all these little things I plan on doing for so long. So nice. I've just been bag sewing for years now. So I feel like it's this one right here. This is my problem right here. I'm going to get rid of these threads right now. I don't want to have a trouble trimming them later. Those little ones that poke out sometimes can be the hardest to trim. So I'm going to pull this to the inside as far as I want right now. And I'm going to stick it down with some pins. That way I know when I get to this point, I cannot let it ooch out from that spot. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want this to push this way. What's great is that this side is the one giving me a little trouble. And I'm going to start on this side. And it's only going to push it this way. It's only going to push it that way. So that's great. I'll put this pin on this side, in fact. Like that. I don't like all these threads. They're really bugging me. You probably can't see them all. There it is. I see this one now. I'm going to get rid of it. Okay. Let's see. Get this corner a little better. The awl is so great for stuff like that. Your seamer might break off the tip, so you don't want to really use it for that. Pins just bend. Chopstick is a little blunt. But there are point turners out there as well. Don't have one of those. Okay, so now I'm going to pin my waistband down from the outside in a few places. I'm going to see what it looks like before I sew it, because I want to make sure I'm not getting any torque, or I'm not like trying to fudge it without knowing it or being honest about it. Sorry, I know you can't really see, so I'm just kind of pinning it. This is what it looks like on the inside right now. I think like this is where non-stretch denim prevails. It looks so much nicer on the waistband. I don't know why. It just does. It's less gushy. That's a technical term. It's less gushy. My waistband looks like it got a little narrower right there. Don't really want that, but. So I'm making sure that my head of my pin is below the seam here, because I'm going to sew right over these pins. I'm not going to take them out unless I want to as I'm going, but maybe my hands will be busy holding it, so I may not have a free hand to do that. So I just make sure I pin perpendicular, keep the head of the pin well away, because if it's really close right here, it can get caught in under your machine in the feed dogs, and or your presser foot can't go past it. So that's why I'm doing the pins like that. So let's look at the inside now. Oh, let's get rid of that. Little thread there. This one looks like it could use another one right here. So even, no matter how perfectly I get this pinned, while I'm sewing it, it's going to shift because the feed dogs are doing this and the presser foot is going like this, right? So the presser foot is just staying flat and straight and the feed dogs are doing this. My hands are turning blue from the dye. It's like when I knit with yarn that has indigo in it, my hands turn blue. Alright, so let's change to our top stitch thread and let's do this. Let's see. Come on, stop that. Just tying it in a knot and then I just pull it through. Just like you do on your serger. Alright. So I'm curious if you guys are like sewing like holiday gifts this year or anything like that, you know? What am I missing out on? What do I need to be sewing? I'm really cranking my tension down right now. This top stitching is kind of gonna show. Well, that looks pretty good right there. It's not gonna show on the outside, but it is gonna be up against my skin, and I'm gonna see it a lot. And anytime someone wants to look at them, they're gonna see that. I would rather it not keep looking like this. So I really have cranked it down though. Good thing it's just a top stitching. It sounds a little better. Yeah, let's do that. So now I need to remember to adjust that back. Probably will forget. So I think I'm going to do my start and my stop. Oh, nice, Rebecca. Yeah, I was thinking the same things. My family lost theirs too. Or I don't know if your sister lost hers, but I did buy one for the dogs. Hopefully my mom's not watching. So I'm going to do my start and stop on the, let's see, I think I'm going to do it maybe just past the back side seam, or the side seam here, like right here. I don't like my start and stop, yeah, right, Milan? To be right at the front at the waistband, even though no one's probably going to see the waistband of my pants because I don't typically tuck in my shirts. I still like to hide my start and stops in places, other places. So it's just my thing. All right, so my fold line is going just past the seam. Oh, let me get rid of this. You know how I feel about things like this. Okay. So here's my first seam. Here's my fold. It's just covering it. You see that? I'm not going to worry about missing it. I'm going to worry about my stitching looking nice, okay? And that's how I'm setting myself up to success. For success. I don't want any shifting. I can tell it wants to right now. It wants to push the top layer towards me. And those little tiny pushes will add up at the end, at the front of my waistband. I don't want that. So I'm kind of pulling it taut, not stretching. Let's hope I don't run out of bobbin thread. Shoot, I should have checked that. I didn't put in a very big bobbin. I have a feeling I'm gonna run out. Oh, cool. That'll be fun. No, I'm not. I don't want to sew too much either. I am making one thing. I'm not gonna mention just in case. And then I'm definitely not knitting any gifts. I haven't been knitting very much. Okay. Okay, I'm near my zipper teeth. Where's my, here. Be really careful because my seam was already in between those teeth, you know? So I want to make sure then I'm not landing right on. Oh, I did run out of. I ran out of bobbin. I knew it. I knew I would run out of bobbin. So now I have a start stop on the front. Oh well. It happens. It happens. Let's check my tension again. Still looks good. All right, let's line this up. We did pretty good on that inseam, right? Maybe my belt loops will cover it. I'm not like super into Christmas, but I will say like when you have a kid, it does make it a little bit more fun if you kind of, you know, especially if there's grandparents involved. They're more than likely kind of into Christmas or something like that, you know? And so it is kind of fun when you have kids in your life for that day of the year. Especially if you get to be at the house they wake up in. Okay, just dropping it right at the corner. I'm going to move all this stuff because now I've got to go through the machine head. Not my favorite. Nobody's favorite, right? So the way I like to line up my stitching on my machine, you got to find your spot, is I put this edge of my waistband in the middle of my presser foot. My presser foot probably looks a little different than yours. Yours is probably more squared off and probably a little thinner at the tips, like thinner this way, not this way. So, you know, we already pushed this way. Now we're pushing this way. So, you know, if you have any torquing happening, you could be like exacerbating it, or hopefully like, you know, we're correcting it, right? So, because we pushed this way on this pass and now we're pushing this way on this pass. So, I'm going to take out some of these pins. I'm going to take them all out. They're actually irrelevant right now, so I might as well so I don't poke myself. Those are still needed on the front there. Try and still get this to lay flat. Hard to see, sorry guys. You can probably do this. I can make it brighter if you want, but it'll really make this blown out. Maybe if I put some denim over here. Does that help the camera? Probably not, huh? That's my little, I have a little back stitch right there. That's that sound. So my pants sometimes will get caught on it, or whatever I'm sewing will get caught on it. Can be a little dangerous sometimes, but it's super handy most of the time. Well, that sounded different. I better not run out of bobbin again. That might make me a little bit mad. Okay, so I've got to remember all this isn't sewn yet. Always stop needle down, turn your corner. Make sure this is all flat as I start it. Gotta remember my zipper teeth. I'm about to come across them again. They are about right here. I'm gonna take this pin out right now. I'm going to hand crank near the teeth. That. Okay, we're good. Home stretch. I'm gonna try and get this nice and flat. Kind of pulling equally. Yay! That looks pretty good. You can see my camera a lot today, huh? That's the one that broke. It's still working though. Like it physically broke, but the camera part still works. Alrighty. I'm going to try these on for my hems. And I'm going to decide... See, I'm getting a little anvil in my next Needle Sharp subscription box because it's also a denim box. And I kind of tended to wait to get that, but I don't think it ships until mid-December. So we'd have to kind of wait a long time to put these on. So I'll figure out a different way to do that. I don't think the anvil's, necessary. I just use a hammer on my table. So yeah, let's turn them right side down, huh, Rebecca? Let's see. I'm so excited to try these on. Ooh, they touched the floor. Okay. I'm going to use my home machine for a little bit of a zigzag there for a bar tack. So I really modified the fit of since the last pair that I did. Can you see those okay? Should we brighten it up a little bit? See, the thing is, I'm looking through really bright lights at the screen, so I can't tell if it's bright enough for you guys, you know? It's hard to see through the brightness. Is that a little better? Do you like that? There's two ways I can do it, through exposure and through brightness. And they're definitely different, you know? Yeah, it looks pretty good. You know, and so then we could... this is what I got here. Pretty good, huh? And then I think where do you put rivets, like here, maybe here, maybe on my pockets, back pockets. Yeah, it's a tack button though. So I know how to do this, no problem. What I have found though is it's too bright. You want me to tone it down? Okay. Good to know. That's what I want to hear. Is that better? What do you think of that? So I can show you the exposure. Is that too dull now? Or I mean too dark? Yeah, see, that's better, yes. It's not too dark? How about that? Oh, right there. So go back one, like that. I won't change anything because there's a little bit of a delay. Is that good? See, that looks really dark on my screen, but I'm looking through really bright lights right now. Oof, it looks so dark. I hope you guys can really see that. These are cute. No, too dark. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. That looks pretty good, huh? Those look like jeans. Good thing, right? Since that's what we just made. Okay, what I had, okay. So like this. Denim is hard, you guys. I really need to get something other than denim to make these. So hard to get the exposure right. I'll leave it there for now. So all I have left on these is putting on the rivets and the button, the bar tack, and the hems. The hardware makes such a difference, doesn't it? It really makes it look professional. Let's see where we could put them on the back too. Here's my butt. So I think people put them here. Don't you think? Here. It's so funny, like I just don't know. I'll have to look at the like typical places to put them. That's a little bright, huh? So this is the copper set. I have a brass set as well. And I think for my needle sharp, she has nickel. So I picked nickel as well, which is basically looking like a silver, you know. I wanted to put like a little like ribbon poking out of my pocket here, and I totally forgot about that. I thought that'd be a really nice touch, be really cute, you know. Just a little tiny piece, you know, sticking out of the side of the pocket. They give 2 tack buttons, which is nice. So if you flub one up, you can you have another one, because the trick with these is not, you have to get this post in perfectly straight. And when you're hammering it, the like we have found that we do it like this upside down. We do it upside down, and that's so that this whole surface here doesn't have the danger of getting bent down if you do from the top. It still can happen though, because you'd be surprised like how much pressure when you're exerting like this, you know, right here, if you get it off a little bit. And it's good to make sure you're hammering straight up and down, because you know we tend to do it at an angle like this when we're hammering, what we're used to. And I found that what I use is an old antique iron. You know how like I have these antique irons here? Well, I have a little one like this big. It's actually a weight in one of my lights right now. And they just have them on the front. Yeah, sometimes they do. I know, I feel like there's a lot of rivets in there, so I can play with it. My little tiny iron for some reason helps me do it straight, and it's because it's not a hammer with a handle, so it makes me go like this, like straight down when I'm using it. I feel like one of the funny things, this is a really weird reason, you guys, but I don't think about putting rivets on my pants because I just remember working on a farm, and I worked a lot with turkeys. I had 400 turkeys and I had 400 laying hens. And the turkeys, especially, because I wore Carhartts for the farm work, there's a lot of rivets on those. The turkeys would peck those shiny spots on my pants, and I would have little bruises and where all the little spots of my rivets were. I remember them. There were some down here on my leg because there's like a low pocket there, and then up on my hips, especially my hips would get really sore from them pecking, because sometimes I'd have to walk through there and feed them, and they're all like really tall after a certain point, and they would peck that. And that made me kind of go, oh, I don't need rivets. When I first started sewing jeans, because it was very soon after I worked on the farm that I had 800 birds. I had 800 birds. I milked 9 goats. And then I did the baby lambs. I helped all the moms give birth to their lambs. That was my job there. Plus I distributed all the raw milk and managed all the shares in general, like the vegetable shares. It was a pretty diverse farm. But yeah, so The Langhans, they were also into shiny objects as well, but they weren't very tall, so it didn't really matter. Like if you put your ring in front, like your hand, your hand with your ring on it, they would definitely be interested in that or something. But yeah, I think like that way of thinking, like I don't know about you, but like once I've decided something, I'm like, okay, I figured that out. I don't need to figure that out again. And I move forward. And I probably need to rethink that since it's been like decades since I've worked there. But it definitely made an impression on me. Worse than like when you take your jeans out of the dryer and the rivets burn you. I hate that too. So it probably was one of the things. I don't know if you could call me a legit farmer. I worked there. I did farming stuff. I worked my butt off. Literally worked like 16-hour days, minimum, sometimes 20-hour days, especially if I was on baby checks all night long. And I milked, so I was up really early in the morning. So yeah, but I loved it. I really loved it. Like I would go back to that in a heartbeat. I loved working there. I loved working with so many different. I love animals. I love working with animals. And there's definitely heartbreaking moments on a farm, but I really like I just love being around animals, So, but yeah, I probably should adjust my way of thinking about rivets, So it's kind of a weird throwback thing. That's probably part of it. So I can look at where I want to put these, and maybe we'll do that like at the beginning of the stream next week or something. I don't really want to wait that long to wear my pants. But maybe I will put the tack button on, and then I'll show you how I put it on another thing, So, yeah, so I can wear them before that, so I can take some pictures with you guys, or for you guys. So, we'll see. I can wait. I can be patient. I waited this long, I am pretty excited, though, because if these fit really well, then I can cut out another pair and do some more, so... All right, I haven't quite figured out what I'm going to sew next week. I know I need to finish that closet organizer pattern. It's like, the graphic stuff is so annoying to me. And then, let's see, I don't have my schedule on the wall anymore there. Let's see. I had a pajama stream planned next week, but I'm not sure I'm going to do that or not. I have all these odds and ends here. I have these little holiday bags that I want to finish sewing. I have an archer sitting here waiting to be sewn. And then I have some chicken boots things to sew. So maybe I will do just kind of like a junk drawer type of sewing, and we can just talk, and you can ask me about whatever I'm working on and just sew together. And let's see, I ordered a bunch of patterns on the Closet Case sale, and I'm going to look at the Itch to Stitch pull-on pants. So if you guys want to do a sew along, especially if you're watching this after we streamed, because I know today is a really busy day for so many people, but I still just wanted to keep these gingers going forward so we can start with something new next week. Let's talk about a sew along, and it'll be casual. It won't be until January. Tamarack vest. I know, I do need to do the Tamarack vest. But are you guys tired of me sewing the same thing over and over again? Because I want that vest, or maybe a jean jacket. I'd be down for that. I kind of want a jean jacket now. I know, Rebecca, you're like, dang it, we're doing this together. Okay, well, let me know what your thoughts are, you guys. Thanks for coming. I know you guys are really busy this weekend probably. We might have guests or holiday shopping or whatever you're doing on the weekend. And it definitely feels lighter mood around here. We had tons of weather. The fire's pretty much taken care of. They can't get to the last 5%. So they're sending a lot of firefighters home, which is really great. Yeah, that's great, Rebecca. Yeah, I know, Malin, right? I think I could make a jean jacket with my Tamarack. I find the Tamarack it's not tight. I just feel like it fits really well. I love once it's on, it hangs so well. There's something about that jacket. It just hangs perfectly. And it just sits. It does not scooch anywhere. I don't like things that are fussy. You know what I mean? And that thing does really nice. But I want to be want a little bit of ease across my shoulders. Yeah, Malin, exactly. Yeah, right now the fires aren't threatening. They weren't threatening anybody recently, but the mood in the town is definitely grim. You know, there are definitely people struggling with a lot here. I don't talk about it, I don't mention it. It's definitely our issues, not your issues. And everybody in their town at one point or another has something that they have to deal with, right? So I don't have a good jean jacket pattern, Melon, but I just saw one the other day. And I had thought about just using the tamarack and then modifying, putting a collar and a cuff on the sleeve and then making a waistband, you know, but I know that doesn't help anybody else wanting to make a jean jacket. But I just saw one, and it's a European company, and I'm gonna have to I think I bookmarked it on Instagram so I could find it again, because that's pretty intriguing to me. I had a jean jacket in high school and I loved it. And it's really funny because my dad had one, and it had the like sheepy fleece like lining to it, and I was so embarrassed by that thing. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, oh my god, this thing in high school. But then as I got older, I was like, that thing is really cool. Like they didn't make them for forever. Colette? No, I don't think Colette has one. Wait, who are you thinking? Maybe Grain Line, or maybe Colette does so many like pretty. Oh, you're right, Rebecca. In their seam work thing. That is where I saw it. I think you're right. Hampton or something. Okay, good. Okay, so we have some lines and some jean jackets. I don't really need another jacket, but I kind of want the challenge of sewing one. You know, I really love top stitching. Any excuse to top stitch is a good excuse in my book, you know. So, all right. Yeah, and then I got the Caroline pajamas. Audrey. Okay. But it's going to be PDF. I know, I'm such a wimp. I need to figure out my copy shop printing here. I think actually I have a person that can print things for me. I know Patternsy is an option. I know that. But that's shipping from overseas. That just seems really far. I found someone locally as well. I can't remember who it was. Not locally, but in the States. So we could do that. And what else do you guys think? What else could we sew together? I need to do some more little how-to videos, and maybe I'll be able to get back on track starting next week with some of those, because I still have some sitting over there waiting to go. Little short ones, you know, little short things. So, all right. Well, have a fantastic weekend, you guys. I will see you next Thursday for something. So I'll probably post about it on Tuesday or Wednesday, what it's going to be. And if you have any suggestions, requests, ideas, always email them or tag me on Instagram or send me a direct message or email it, whatever you want. Reply to the newsletter, and we'll put it in the queue, because I'm looking for any, you know, Christmas stockings. Yeah, I guess I could sew those, but God, those are so personal. I feel like those are so personal, you know, and I would probably knit one, but I do have a felt. I have like done a couple felt ones. I'll think about that. Thanks, Melon. I'll think about the Christmas stockings. It would be a nice seasonal thing to do, right? All right, guys. So I'll see you next Thursday, and hopefully we'll have a picture of me in my ginger jeans by then, or we'll be just doing the rivets and stuff. So take care. Have a fantastic weekend, and happy sewing. Bye.